This week in Nintendomain, we have special guest Sam Wells here from Toy De Jour to talk about games and toy games.
I smashed me a couple rackets.
You should get Waluigi when you lose.
Oh. Nintendomain Podcast, episode 124. This is your place for Nintendo and Nintendo-related topics, video games, whatnot. We are your hosts. I'm Trey, Ultra Smash Johnson.
I'm Jereme, kicked ass with Waluigi Mikowski.
Oh, fighting words.
I'm John, don't know if I got a Smash ticket knitter.
Oh.
Ooh.
And we have a special guest this week, Sam Wells from Toy De Jour. What's up, man?
Hey, I'm going to say it's Sam has never played a Switch Wells.
Oh.
Oh, never played a Switch, huh?
Do you not have one?
There's
Take it?
one in the house.
Okay.
But it immediately went to my wife to play Zelda.
How long has she had it for?
I'd say the better part of the year.
Oh, okay. So it's been there for a while, and you haven't had a chance to like sneak a play in or sneak a touch on it or anything like that.
Yeah, I threaten. Like I pick it up and act like I'm maybe going to delete a game or something.
Oh.
That's as far as I've gotten.
Well, there's different files. Like you can start a different profile. You guys
I'm well there. Yeah.
I was gonna say you guys don't need to fight. You can start your own thing, and then you don't have to worry about saves and all that. I mean, I guess the way the Switch works, like she could pretty much play it wherever. Like she could be like, I'm going to work or whatever, and take it with her, and then you wouldn't have it like if you were there, because it's completely portable. I guess
it's locked in the closet.
Yeah, I guess you guys would have to get two. Like to enjoy it. I mean, are you interested in playing it at all, or do you just like watching?
Oh no, absolutely. And she's only really done the handheld. Like she doesn't really put it up on the TV.
Oh,
she doesn't even share it with you. Wow.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to get you any ideas. Like, oh, maybe I could play that. Nope, that's all hers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it because it's sort of spoilery. If I'm watching her, so
sure, but you guys could like always. I mean, you can do it together. It's like a joint adventure. Yeah. You can be like, "Hey, go up that hill, or go fight that. Go look under that rock. There's probably a Korok there or something."
You could just like vacate the room if you don't want things spoiled.
True.
Just leave that room. Damn it! Why'd she have to dock that? Now I have to leave the living room.
Yeah, or just like cover your plug your ears and cover your eyes. That's what I used to do when I was a kid. I think
you guys have multiple docks.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jereme and I both have two docks.
Mm-hmm.
John doesn't have a TV, so he has a Try One. Well, we all have Try Ones also.
Yeah.
These these like suspendy things that they're like they have clamps that you like can screw on to like a dresser or whatnot, and you can put your Switch in there, and if you want to lay down and play it, it like holds the screen.
Oh, nice.
It's on my exercise bike that I don't use that often. It's basically where mine is. But I think you guys use yours more than I do.
I'm using mine right now to hold this iPad and film this podcast.
It's hold my webcam also.
Yeah, you guys are fancy. I just use my laptop camera. I was going to ask you just off the front here, Sam. What is your favorite Nintendo game of all time?
I think I would have to go with Super Metroid.
Okay, that's probably my favorite too.
That's a really good answer.
Yeah, that's what I would say as well. Have you, so you said that your wife has a Switch, but how active have you been, like, in video gaming? Like, do you still play, or did you play, like, the Wii or the Wii U, anything last generation, or what was the last system that you were into?
Yeah, we kind of get the previous system when a new one comes out.
Oh, okay.
But we skipped the Wii U, which is why we were able to go to a Switch quicker than normal.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, like me personally, I just for the first time did Link Between Worlds. Beat it last week.
Oh, nice.
And then I honestly completely missed Skyward Sword, and meaning I didn't know it was a game.
Oh, yeah, completely missed
so
it.
We just got that, and all I did was save a file so far. So I'm excited to jump to that now that A Link Between Worlds is done.
Oh, okay. So you haven't really, you're saying you just like barely even started, right? You just like put your name in there and that's about it?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I mean, I'd be interested to see what you think of that. Like, Skyward Sword's kind of
divisive.
like, yeah.
Polarizing.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't see what the divisiveness really is all about. I love that game. I think it's great, and I like the motion controls. I think they work really pretty well. I enjoyed swinging the sword. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm on that side of the argument.
I think some of it might have come from the fact that it's like not really truly full open world, I guess, where everything's kind of divided, and I think some people were upset about that. Spoilers. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of something you'll find out really early. But I enjoyed the game. I played it all the way through. I got all the hearts and all that. So I don't really understand like why people dislike it. I feel like there's more divisive thing on Twilight Princess than Skyward Sword, maybe. Even though I really like that one too. So I don't know.
I think most people agree that Link Between Worlds is a fantastic game.
Link Between Worlds is a fantastic game. Yeah, that's a wonderful game, and it's cool you got to play that. I'm sure you enjoyed it, right?
Yeah, it's one that like I don't know, like. Rarely will I go back after beating a Zelda and replay it right away, but as soon as the hero thing was unlocked, I started another game.
Oh, okay. Nice. Did you go, isn't there, was it like Street Pass, or isn't there stuff you do with that old man that's there? It's been a long time since I played the game.
I ignored that completely.
Oh, okay. Because supposedly if you talk to him enough, like he like reveals that he's like the Link from A Link to the Past.
Oh, really?
Which I thought was cool.
Yeah, people hinted that there was more to him than... meets the eye, but I kind of just stayed away because I didn't want to deal with the Street Pass thing.
Oh, sure. I like Street Pass. It's just like I don't know how many people you have coming through your shop with 3DSs to where that actually happens to get Street Pass. I mean, maybe. I mean, if you got a lot of people walking by, but it's not like it's not like Japan where like everybody has 3DSs and there's a lot more.
That's the other thing too. That like I have been terrified since we've opened the shop to take a handheld game in there. Like I've never taken a video.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just out of fear of somebody coming in and taking it, or leaving it, or whatever.
Slacking off on things that I need to do.
Oh yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, it'd be totally very much a distraction in there. Well, that's cool. I'm glad you're still playing Nintendo games. I didn't know. Yeah, I wasn't sure like how much. I know you guys have had like Amiibo and stuff in that, and we've talked a little bit about games, but I wasn't sure like what your last system was or like what you played and all that. But hopefully you get to touch the Switch, because the Switch is really cool. We've all been enjoying it. It's a fun system. It's mostly all that we talk about on the show.
You know what you got to do if your wife doesn't own it already? You got to go buy Mario Kart, and then you got to say, hey, you got 2 Joy-Cons. There's no excuse. You got to share it.
It's true. Yeah. And you don't even really need to buy another controller, because you can do one Joy-Con on that and do everything that you would be able to do on Mario Kart. So that's a good icebreaker piece offering there. Mario Kart 8 be an easy way to get your hands on that. I don't know if.
But I mean, like I just mentioned, I just started Skyward Sword, so I'm not really eager to jump onto it.
Oh, sure.
Know?
Yeah.
Now you're focused on that game.
Yeah, and we also just brought NES Classic into the house. So,
nice.
Oh, there you go.
Super Metroid. I'm excited to go back and play that again, and Earthbound. So I think my time's filled right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of hours that you can put into that Super Nintendo Classic. So especially, I mean, there's like Final Fantasy VI as well on there. Like as far as like great RPGs go, and like Secret of
Mario
Mana,
RPG
as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of time you can put into that thing. So.
Yeah, and I think we've only played the Kirby games so far, just to like crack it open and get a feel for it.
Oh, nice. The Superstar?
We've done them both, because you can do 2-player on both of them.
Oh, okay. Yes, Superstar is like one of my favorite Kirby games. So that's always a fun game to go through. Cool.
That game by itself has a ton of playtime.
Superstar? Yeah, because it has all the different modes that you unlock, and then there's like the 2-player mini games and stuff that you could play. I think it took me like 6 or 7 hours to like just play through it, because I did a playthrough thing for YouTube, and it took me a minute. I think the longest thing was a Great Cave Offensive, finding all the treasures and all that, because I got lost pretty easily. And that's pretty hard too if you don't have a second player. But that's cool. So I guess that's the stuff that you've gotten lately: the Super Nintendo Classic and the Skyward Sword. Did you play Twilight Princess or no?
I did.
Oh, okay.
All the way through.
Did you play it on GameCube or Wii?
Wii.
Okay. Did you like the waggle in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a little hard. It's one of those games that if you don't complete it on your first run through, you're gonna have to restart it from where, like, you can't pick up from where you left off.
Oh, sure.
Lost,
Yeah, I could understand with that. Unless you're like on the last guy, like that's basically when I stopped playing. It was when I was about to go fight Ganon, and I was like, I want to get.
Exactly when I stopped. I was like, I don't want to beat this game yet. I love it, so I kind of held on to it, and then ended up. I waited like 8 years or something. Mm-hmm. I just beat it a couple years ago.
Yeah. Well, that was the Wii U, the Wii U HD one, where I was like, oh, I'm at Ganon, I should go get all the ghosts and stuff, and then I just didn't, and then I didn't play it. You know, it's kind of just like, oh, okay. But so those are the most recent games that you've gotten then, right, Sam?
Yep.
Cool. Let's go on to that then. Have you guys gotten anything this week? Anything new?
Not aside from the demo. We might briefly discuss the Tennis Aces.
Same here. Yep.
Which we'll talk about that in a second. Well, speaking of Tennis Aces, because I like the demo so much, and because of my middle name, I decided to go out and buy Mario Ultra. Well, I didn't really go out and buy it. I just ordered it, but I got Mario Ultra Smash for Wii U.
Oh, it's in hand.
I got it for $16. Yeah, I just got it in the mail today. Actually, I played it.
You ever played that before?
I've never played it. No, I didn't.
What are the reviews on it? What's the consensus?
Well, it's I didn't buy it because it was not reviewed very well. Well, after playing it, I get it. Like, it just seemed like a total stopgap game. Like, I feel like that was that Christmas where, like, Zelda wasn't coming out. Breath of the Wild wasn't.
2015 or 16?
It was one of them where Breath of the Wild was delayed, so they had nothing to come out. So they released like that and Amiibo Festival.
That was like the big Christmas. Yeah, I remember that.
So It was like, I feel like they just kind of threw it out and they weren't done with it because it seems like really bare bones. Like there's really not a whole lot to do on it. There's like your regular match. There's like a match with a giant ball, and there's like a match where you can make your guy bigger. And then there's sort of like a marathon thing where you fight a bunch of guys over and over again. And that's about it. That's like all that's on the game. And there's an online mode. But it seems real rushed, I guess. It's like, I felt like they were kind of like, well, we can't finish Zelda by Christmas and we need to release something. So here's an Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival and this. Merry Christmas. So, yeah, that was that 2016 or was that 2015? Might have been 2015 because Paper Mario was out for 2016.
I think that makes sense because we knew for sure 2016 we weren't getting Zelda. Because they announced the Switch earlier that year.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so Ultra Smash was kind of something they just released, but it feels a lot like Mario Tennis Aces playing it, you know, like when you go to the end there and it shows you like how much you've scored and how much the other guys scored and like all that where it's like split in half. It does that exact same thing on Ultra Smash. It doesn't have the different outfits with like the rain catcher hats and all that like in the new one, but it reminds me a lot of it. It's fun. I mean, I paid like $15 for it. I think it's fun for $15. But I mean, it came out for $60. You know, it's like if I bought it for $60, I'd be kind of let down because there's not a whole lot to do with it. You know, but for $15, yeah, I'll get some hours out of it. You know, it's a good thing for me to play while I'm waiting for the other game. That's basically what I.
So, is there an online mode at all?
There is an online mode, but I was unable to find anybody to play. I tried it, and it seemed like a ghost town. So, I mean, I only tried it once, and I didn't wait for a whole long time. But I was just kind of sitting there, and nothing was happening. So I just jumped out and played the regular game. But
kind of like a Sonic Adventures, Sonic Plus Racing.
Yeah, same thing, like Sonic and Sega All Stars. But I mean, it was cool. I mean, I wanted to do like a series of videos for the old tennis games on YouTube, so that's kind of why I got it. I bought that one, and I also bought Power Tennis because apparently I lost or sold my GameCube version, so I ordered that one as well today. It'll probably be here next week. But I wanted to play that one, and I played some of the 64 one also, like right before we started recording.
Wow!
Did you have the whole tennis series then after that?
I mean, I'm missing. Well, I think I might have the tennis game on Virtual Boy. I don't know how many there are because I don't have the tennis games on DS.
You have the Game Boy Color one.
I have the Game Boy Advance Mario Power Tennis or whatever it is, the RPG one. I have that on the Wii U on Virtual Console, and I played a little bit of that last night too. Just tried to refresh myself. But it's very much like the golf one where you can like upgrade yourself and all that. But yeah, I've had tennis fever going on.
I really enjoy the demo. Are we talking about it now? Because that demo is great.
Yeah, I would just one more thing that I got, and then we'll talk about the demo. I also got 8500 game, the MD500 Legends.
Did you play it?
Yeah, I played it last night. Also, it's fucking hard. And it's all like motion controlled. But I get once again, I got it for $5, so it's fun for $5. That's basically what I could say. I mean, there's like some old footage of old like indie races and stuff. I just wish it wasn't so difficult. Like you start off in 1960, and you have to like go through a bunch of missions to unlock later Indy cars. So I've only been playing the 1961 one because I can't beat it. But yeah, it's like, there's one track. You can do a full 200 laps if you're insane. You can do that, but there's only one race
track,
on it.
That's pretty harsh.
I mean, it's called Indy 500, so
yeah.
There's only one race at Indy 500. So basically, yeah. So I got that.
But they don't do like different types of track? I mean, I don't know anything about Indy, but has there never been any other track?
Well, I mean, the Indy 500
Not
is
for
the Indy 500.
500, no.
I mean, it's a racetrack in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, I mean, if it was like Formula One racing, which is the 500 racing, then it could be at other places. But
Yeah, I guess so.
if it's Indy 500, it's just one thing. It's like, you know, coming out with a game called like Madison Square Garden, the game.
Yep.
You know, I guess you could have different sports there and stuff, but it's still
Maybe
Madison
some
Square
concerts.
Gardens, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So it's one
Change
thing.
a rhythm game.
I couldn't really see myself playing it, like buying it for $60 and like being like, hey, this is great. You know, it's a weird game.
It's shovelware, right?
I wouldn't say it's necessarily shovelware. I mean, the guys who made it, they're like a real company, like these tourist guys, and have actually made real games. I'm not that this isn't a real game. It's just kind of like, I don't know, the Wii was so hot back then that I guess they were like, hey, we should finally make an 8500 game. I mean,
Do you know if it was multi-platform, or do you know much of the history of it?
there was a DS version. I found that out. It was released on DS too, so I don't know. Maybe it was on other things, but it looks fine. It's just kind of, you got to be pretty hardcore into the Indy 500 to enjoy it, I guess.
Which you are.
I wouldn't buy that game until I played the first 499 indie games.
Uh-huh. Did you make that joke
That's how
about
hardcore.
that joke about Fallout 76 also, or 78 or whatever it is, or Mega Man 64, like
I'll
when
go
that
there.
game came out, Mega Man Legends 64,
Dad jokes all day.
where it's like, I didn't play the first 63, so blah blah blah. Apparently, everybody made that joke when Fallout 78 was announced.
Never forget Super Mario 128.
the game that never happened. There was another game that I got today, which I actually didn't have to pay for at all, which is cool. I got for completely free. Shaq Fu, A Legend Reborn, snuck onto the eShop this week. I don't know if you guys caught that or not.
I did see that.
I saw
Yeah.
that, yeah.
I got that game for completely free because I bought NBA Playgrounds, which is awesome.
Your
So-
little, what's that? Your ambassador award?
It is my ambassador award. And I looked it up online, and apparently that game's like $30 new. So,
Yeah,
So-
it's too much for me to play. That's for sure.
Don't get it for 30. I'll tell you that much. I played it and it's not great, but it's fine for free, I guess. I mean, it's a
It's funny. You read the description on the eShop, it even kind of sells itself short.
It has a bad game.
oh,
Yeah,
did,
it kind of says it's not that great. Well,
did you read
maybe
what
Trey
it
could look up the specific wording of it.
Did
but
you read what it
It
says?
sells itself short.
It says it's better than the Bible, and it tells you like why it's better than the Bible. It's pretty hilarious. would have been great for our Bible episode, our Bible game episode.
So Shaq's just saying he's better than Jesus.
Yeah, it says like not that we're saying that Shaq Fu Legend Reborn is better than the good book. That would be blasphemy. But please consider the following questions. Does the Bible feature basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal as an ass-kicking Wu-Zing master? Can the Holy Writ boast a dope rap featuring the big Aristotle himself? Does the Book of Books provide the excitement and hilarity of battling bosses who are parodies of famous douchebags? Do any of the conflicts depicted in the Sacred Testimony qualify as epic boss battles that you won't believe we actually put into a game? Shaq Fu Legend Reborn does contain all of those thrilling features and many more, so buy it. It's pretty cheap, which I don't think it's that cheap. But that's like their last
The
line. of
closing
that.
argument is it's pretty cheap. That's great.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty cheap. It's a pretty ridiculous game. Like there was like one boss that I had to that it like pauses and you get to do like a rhythm based game, like where you basically have to hit the buttons in a certain order. So that was kind of funny. But it reminds me a lot of like bad beat 'em ups from the 90s. It actually kind of reminded me of the Tick game on Super Nintendo. If you ever played that game.
Oh, that was terrible. I have horrible nightmares about that game because
Yeah.
I loved the Tick, and I was so excited they're coming out with a video game.
Yeah, it's
And
super
it was
boring.
just, I remember I tried it out. I wondered, could I just like hold the right button and hit the A button, the attack button, and then watch TV for like 5 minutes? And I did, and I beat the level.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of how Shaq Fu's kind of like that. There's not really a whole lot to do. There's only one. There's like one hit button, and you basically do that. It's like hit and jump, and there's some really cool cutscenes that are fully animated. I mean, that's great, but the rest of it's kind of like ho hum. You know, it's like, oh, here's a bunch of Chinese stereotypes, and here's a bunch of like West Coast stereotypes, and there's like sugar zombies in there, and there was even a black guy in there shooting grape soda at you, which I thought was real offensive, but they still put that in there. I don't know. that kind of made me feel a
Kevin
little
Smith,
upset
right?
when I saw it. But yeah, it's a game. It's out. I got it for free. I don't know if I'll play it anymore, but I did play it for an hour today. You can find it on YouTube, youtube.com/Fingmater. But yeah, we can talk about the tennis demo. Are you still there, Sam? I'm sorry if we don't mean to Feel free
I had
to.
the Shaq Fu though. How much would it cost if you didn't get it for free?
I think
it's 20.
Is it 20? I looked. I thought it was 30. Maybe it's different because I just looked it up online and it said it was 30 for PlayStation 4, but it might be different for Switch.
I watched your video a little bit and I kind of skipped around a little bit, but at one point you said there's 2 moves: punch and stomp.
Yep, it's punch and stop and jump. That's
it's
about
not
all
really
you can do.
kick; it's like a stomp.
Yeah, it's not a kick move; it's a stomp move. yeah. It's weird. You can stomp on people. Yeah, it's $20. I don't know if any of you guys ever played Shaq Fu on Super Nintendo. I think it's better than that game, but
$20 is not pretty cheap. It doesn't lie.
I mean, it's cheap compared to like a $60 game or a $50 game. I mean,
you just find like $20 in your pants when you're doing laundry. Just buy Shaq Fu.
Or if you bought an NBA Playgrounds like I did, you just get it for free, which is pretty cool. That was a nice surprise of the week. I was like, oh, I got a free game. Nice.
And all you had to do was buy an amazing game.
Yeah, all I had to do was buy NBA Playgrounds, which was okay. I had enough fun with it to warrant the like $10 I paid for it or whatever, however much that one was. But so like the big thing of last week was the Mario Tennis Aces demo, which got released. And did you happen to play that, or did your wife play that, Sam?
No, I think it flew past our radar.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they dropped the demo for Mario Tennis Aces, which looks really good. It's coming out the 22nd of June. And they did like I don't know if you're familiar, but they've been doing like whenever they release like a new like online multiplayer game like ARMS or Splatoon 2, they've been doing like these global test punch or global test whatever. They'll do different things over the weekend where like you can play the game for free like with other people online to kind of test the servers. So they did that for Mario Tennis Aces, and you could play like an online tournament against other people. And as you went through the tournament, you could gain points and unlock characters as you go, which is pretty cool because you can unlock like 4 other characters while you're doing it. So it gives you a reason to progress through it and makes it's more than just playing people online. You actually get to unlock new guys as you're going. I know Jereme and I, we played through it long enough to get Chain Chomp as the final unlockable character in there, which is a giant chain chomp with a racket in his mouth, which is pretty hilarious. So
is he actually tethered to something?
No, he just has a tail and he's just jumping around. But he has his racket in his mouth and he just kind of swings his face at the ball, which that can't be fun. But it's got to have some sort of horrible whiplash.
Yeah, he's just got
that.
a broken piece of chain trailing behind him.
Yeah, nobody's actually holding him. He's just kind of jumping around. If you guys ever get around to after Breath of the Wild, make sure you play Super Mario Odyssey. Speaking of chain chompiness, there's a lot of fun chain chomp stuff in that game for Switch.
Right on.
That's true.
But did either of you guys make it to the finals in Mario Tennis Aces?
I didn't. I only played like 8 matches maybe, and yeah, I didn't get too far. I won maybe half of them.
Oh. Were you not into it, or you didn't have time?
No, I liked it. I just didn't have time. I had a busy weekend.
Okay. So I played a good amount of it. Like I ended up getting the Japanese version so I could play it Thursday night because they're a day ahead of us. So I ended up playing the Japanese demo for the most part because if I tried to do the American demo, I'd have to start over in points. So I just played the Japanese one. And it was pretty good. Like occasionally, there's some occasional lag where you would lose because you couldn't you weren't able to react on time. But aside from that, I had a lot of fun with it. It's pretty cool.
You might have played the same person twice in the same tournament.
I did that a couple times where like it would because it was
actually Kel too, which is the name of my cat.
Yeah. Since it's like a tournament, there has the brackets and all that. So like you'll defeat one guy in one bracket and then you have to wait for whatever other bracket to finish for you to fight another guy. And sometimes it'll take so long that you'll end up fighting the guy that you fought the first time. Like he'll like would have re-entered the tournament and beat another guy. And then, so I ended up fighting like the same guy twice, which is pretty funny. And that happened.
Which I never actually had that happen I played the US version.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to play the Japanese version. I didn't have time, so I didn't even bother to download it, but I never had to wait very long. If I waited more than like 30 seconds, it just disconnected and I just had to log back in.
Yeah. And it's not like the Japanese version, like it's in Japanese or anything. It was just from the Japanese eShop. There's not really a difference at all. It's all in English.
It's probably using those servers to like match you up and everything.
Because I mostly played American people in the Japanese version. I mean, it was probably like 20% Japanese people that I played. But I had a lot of fun with it. I'm really excited to play it. I think it's going to be like, I've said it before, but I feel like it's going to be like the new big internet esport Nintendo thing that they're going to be pushing is online tennis. And I'll
agree with you because Splatoon 2 kind of got me into all the Switch. Nintendo wants us to play multiplayer esport type games on the Switch. Like they've been pushing that hard since the initial reveal. So, I got into Splatoon 2 finally. I didn't really get into ARMS.
Yeah.
I like Mario Kart okay, but I don't know if that counts as an esport. But, this was like, I didn't expect to like this game as much as I do. And it's a lot of fun. I think I said at the top of the show that I was breaking some rackets or whatever. But there's the option to, you can try to like eliminate the other player by breaking their racket twice with a special move. And that's just like the most fun way to win. Yeah, especially if you do it on a deciding, like if it's already like the end of the match and you also break their racket with a KO, like that's so fun.
Yeah, you can KO people. Yeah, which is crazy. Like that's just thinking about all the stuff that's added in there when I was playing Ultra Smash. I'm like, wow, like there's because they don't have any special moves in Ultra Smash and no like, you can build up. You have like a meter that you build up in aces, and you can do like a crazy move, which you can aim with motion control and all that. But yeah, the craziest thing is you can like totally break somebody's racket completely, and then they're just out. It's just over.
Yeah.
Which I only did. I only did it like one time, but you did it. You were like breaking rackets and taking names like on your.
I've done it a lot. Like I have. I recorded some more footage when I played it the second day on Saturday, and I was like, I had a better grasp of the game, and I played a lot better than the video, which I will post us playing the initial night. But I was a lot better the second day when I played it because I had a better grasp of the controls, and I started using the different shots because you want to fake out your opponent with. Hitting it in different ways. So I got a little better after that, and that's how I unlocked everybody. But
I really liked doing the best was when I was serving. You could just tease the people like for a pretty long time. You just toss the ball up.
Oh yeah,
toss it up, toss it up.
I did that a few times.
Toss it up, and then smash it, and that would get them most of the time.
And they would be moving around trying to adjust to where you stand on the court.
So you were one of those guys. I played a couple of those guys. I hated it. It was really annoying. Like I'm just like. Waiting and they keep walking back and forth and tossing it up and not hitting it. And I'm like, come on, man.
I did it one match where there was a really bad lag and the other guy like did it first. So I started like doing it too. So there was like probably 2 minutes at the beginning where we just did that back and forth.
Yeah.
I held it long enough one time. It came up and said, you got to serve it or you'll forfeit.
That's such a dick move though, man. Like I would have hated to be playing. I would have like quit by then. Like I'd take the loss. I'm out of here. I'm gonna be a rage quitter right now because of all that tennis stuff.
But I did make it to the finals one time, the second day, and I did it pretty. I think the second or third match where I started the tournament, and it was pretty easy. I just happened to like face kind of easy opponents, but I made it to the finals, and it was a chain chomp, and his name was Beef Milk.
Yeah, Beef Milk. I saw your Twitter post about that.
And he obliterated me. Like I don't think I scored, they obliterated me. I don't think I scored 1 point, and you could see it in the Twitter video I uploaded. But I was so excited. I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get that trophy. And then the opponent I faced was way better than me. I've been rocking Waluigi. That's been my best character. Even after I unlocked Chain Chomp, I kept playing with Waluigi because I just do better. Like I'm more familiar with how his special moves and stuff work.
Yeah,
Waluigi is the first character you unlock, and I said at the top of the show, I think you shouldn't unlock him by winning. You should unlock him by losing. Like if you lose 10 in a row or something, congratulations, here's Waluigi.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that'd be more appropriate and very funny.
Well, Waluigi's premier game was Mario Tennis on 64, so he kind of has to be in this. Like, he was only created to be Wario's doubles person in the Nintendo 64 Mario Tennis game, so Waluigi is no stranger to tennis.
Not to sidetrack it too much, but could you guys give a quick rundown of Nintendo's tennis history?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
just like with this cast.
With Waluigi or just Nintendo in general?
Just with the Mario cast, because I know that there's some like Super Tennis or whatever that didn't include them, right?
Yeah, because I think the first Mario Tennis one was the 64 one, right?
Yeah, that was the first official Mario Tennis game. And then before that, I can remember
it was the Virtual Boy was the first one.
The Virtual Boy. Mm-hmm. Was that the first one with the Mario characters, or was
I'm
there
pretty
one?
Sure.
I mean, I feel like
I
the
think
Virtual
it predated
Boy.
The Game Boy. The Game Boy Color didn't come out till 96 or 97, or was it later than that? Yeah, and the Virtual Boy was out in 95, and the launch game was just called tennis, but it had all the same characters that were in pretty much the same that were in Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah. No,
there was tennis on the NES where Mario was the ball boy, right? Or referee?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
If you want to get real technical.
But I think it had to have been the Virtual Boy. It had to have been the first Mario.
I think so. And that was a fun game too.
Which I own 2 copies of that, incidentally, just because they came with every Virtual Boy.
Oh, the Virtual Boy game?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I played it and I thought it only had Mario in it of characters.
Nope, it's got Yoshi and Princess and Bowser and the Koopa and Toad. I think it's got 8 characters.
Okay. Well, yeah. According to Wikipedia on the Mario Tennis, that was the first one. Virtual Boy was 1995, August 14th, and then Mario Tennis was 2000, was August 28th of 2000, in the 64. Then there was Power Tennis on GameCube in 2004, which I just ordered that one. And then there's Mario Tennis Power Tour. That's a Game Boy Advance game that came out a year later, 2005.
So was there never a Game Boy Color tennis game?
The 64 game and the Game Boy Color game released on the same day.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
So there's a Game Boy Color version, and you can do a transfer pack between them. You could do the same thing with Mario Golf. So yeah, there's Mario Tennis Open. That's 3DS. I never played that one. Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. That's one I just got. And Mario Tennis Aces. So I've played all of them except for that 3DS one. Or the Game Boy Color one. So there's 2 I haven't played. But yeah, what is that then? 7 games probably? Or 8? Yeah, there's 8 of them total. But yeah, there's the quick rundown of Mario Tennis.
This is definitely, it feels just like Splatoon to me though, where you just keep playing. You get kind of hooked on just matching up with people and just seeing how far you can go, and it's fun.
It does seem more like an esport type of game versus just they used to be the sort of one-off party games where you get together with 4 people in your living room, and I didn't think it had any potential as a sports game. But this, for whatever reason, I just feel like they did a good job of giving you a sense of accomplishment. You could really customize, kind of have all these different moves and everything, and it feels more like a game where you have skill and you feel accomplished after beating somebody. Not so much a game of chance or whatever.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. There's no random objects or items or anything that, which would be which is good because a lot of Nintendo sports games seem to still have that, where they have to throw a random thing in there. Smash Brothers does that too as well. But there's a lot of depth to it. And also in the final version, you'll be able to play it without all the extra moves and all that, which was not available on the demo, but they showed it on there that there's a simple mode. So
and there's the whole 1-player mode where there's adventures and bosses and
there's a story mode too, which is the first time they've done that since the Game Boy Advance version. So I'm excited about that. Just from the last couple, from playing Mario Tennis on 64 and playing Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, I feel I really like games like that, but they seem to not have a whole lot to do, in the end.
Yeah.
You can either play friends or you can play online, but there should always be some sort of story mode or some sort of season mode or something like that, and I'm really happy that that's going to be there in this new one. So
I think that's why I never got a Mario Tennis game or Mario Golf game.
Yeah.
I got Strikers. I like Strikers. I think Strikers had a little bit of depth to it.
Yeah.
But I felt the same way.
Well, Strikers Charged did have online, so you had that.
Yeah, I loved that. Yeah, and I want them to bring back Strikers. I would buy that day one.
I've never played Strikers, but
it's really fun.
Yeah, I have both of them. I have the GameCube one and the Wii one. Strikers and Strikers Charged.
In fact, I don't think I've ever really played a soccer game online. I've played, never played a soccer game.
Not even Mega Man Soccer?
No. I played Pele Soccer on the Atari 2600. That's the last Atari game I remember playing.
Oh, wow. Well, that's I'm sure that one's great. I'm sure it's a good representation of soccer on there. I can only imagine. It's probably
more like foosball.
Yeah. Where you control 4 people at once or 8 people at once.
Yeah.
Have you played any of those tennis games, Sam?
Virtual Boy.
Oh, you did play that one?
Yeah.
Very nice.
I played it recently. We have one here.
Oh, wow.
But you went through the list and I couldn't remember any of those or playing any of those.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, you guys are in this world. You do this a lot more than I do. I can't say that I remember playing any game online, with other people.
Oh, okay.
Really well.
So you haven't made it to the online play yet?
Yeah.
On anything?
I think it freaks me out a little bit. Oh, you know what? Okay. I played Marvel vs. Capcom 3 on PS3. And I actually figured out how to get online and play against somebody. And as soon as I started a match, I was just completely demolished. So I was like, oh well, that's not fun.
I'll say it's probably better that you didn't win, because I played that game online, and every time I won, I got an email from whoever I beat saying like, you suck, you spam moves, like you're awful. Like, it was, everybody sucked on that game online. Like, seriously, they would like send me messages on the PSN that was like, you suck, you do the same move all the time. I'm like, fuck you, man. Like, you're obviously a sore loser. Like, seriously, they would always send me messages.
Did I win? That's the bottom line.
And I
did a bunch of moves, same moves all the time. Did I beat your ass? Okay, cool.
And people would hate me playing Blanca.
I'm so not a spammer, actually. I'm totally against doing that. So it kind of pissed me off even more. I was like, I didn't spam anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
Spamming.
Like, I was trying to play a Street Fighter Anniversary Collection earlier today online, and I played against a guy that just did low kicks the whole time. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? And you even call yourself a Street Fighter player, and all you do is low kicks? It's like the cheapest move ever in any fighting game. It's like, come on, man.
They're super effective in Street Fighter 2 as well.
Yeah, it was just really annoying. I was like, oh, you're one of those guys. You're one of those guys who only knows one move. You're real fun to play against. Thanks. But yeah, the internet world can be a whole thing. I mean, I wasn't really into it too at first, but if you ever get a chance to play Splatoon, like for any of the demo stuff on the Switch, if you ever get a chance to play the Switch, the house Switch, I definitely recommend playing Splatoon 2, because it's online, but it's not like, it's still fun. I think, like, even if you're not that good at it, you can still have fun with it. Yeah. Because here's
the thing with Nintendo, they don't want people to talk to each other. So
yeah,
because they don't want kids to be exposed to stuff. So like, you play all the online games on Switch, and the most is like maybe on Rocket League, someone will tell you suck. But most games, like, you can't really, other than maybe them using the pre-programmed stuff with their avatar, by hitting a directional pad or something. You're not gonna get any like shit talk or anyone criticizing you, because they can't.
Yeah, even though you might see some weird stuff in the lobby area where you see the guys standing around with the stuff above their heads or whatever.
Oh, like their little like away message.
Here is the news. I promise you, it's the news. Let's transition to E3 then. You were talking about it at the beginning of the thing. Did you have you secured your spot in the Smash Brothers tournament or whatever, John? What's going on with that?
I haven't. No. So there was, in case you don't know, there's supposed to be an email that went out on June 5th, and you get a code, and you have to go to the Eventbrite site that Nintendo set up and get your ticket. And so I never got the email. I was waiting all day. I was checking my messages, and nothing happened. And finally, at the end of the day, I posted on the NBC forum, hey, anybody else having trouble? I haven't got my message yet. And everybody, lo and behold, they got the email at like 11:22 Pacific time, and I didn't get it. I'm registered and everything. I got my E3 registration, all that stuff, but I just didn't get it. And the only thing I can figure is that because I have an exhibitor pass, it's perhaps different, and I'm also going there with Indycade, and I think my hope is that Indycade already got all the tickets for the Indycade people, and like maybe they'll give it to us. Maybe they had some kind of deal. Maybe I'll get it when I get my badge or something like that. I don't know. It's the only thing.
So maybe your registration works differently because you're not general public.
Yeah, maybe so. I figured out that there was a pattern to your registration code, which was your E3 registration number plus your initials at the end. So I went onto the Eventbrite site, even though I didn't get the email, and I tried to get that ticket, but it didn't come up. It said this code is not valid. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully I get to play Smash.
Yeah, I hope you still get in. I don't know what...
so do I, man.
I mean, I don't really know. I don't
know. There is apparently going to be a standby line, but you're obviously not guaranteed to play. I don't want to spend the whole day waiting. And
you would have to like camp in that line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You don't want to spend the whole time waiting in line, which I guess is a lot of E3. So that kind of sucks. That I mean, depending on what game it is, you might have to wait in line all day. I'm sure you had to for Zelda and all that when that was that thing. But yeah, we'll talk about a lot of that next week. E3 is next week, so and Nintendo's presentation is on the 12th. So we're right.
I'll be there
next
so
Tuesday. If
you guys happen to be there, go to Indycade and look for a game called Max Duo, which is a game that my friend is making. And they're helping him pitch his game. So look for John at the Max Duo booth at Indycade.
Yeah.
And say hello.
Cool. What's that for? What platform?
It's going to be on mobile.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's it needs like a producer or something, right? It's not like on anything yet, is it? Or what's he trying to do?
No, so it's pretty remarkable, actually. So he came up with the idea for the game, like maybe not that long ago, maybe 2 months ago. He just said, I'm going to try and do this game. He put together all the design documents, and just on kind of a whim, he said, well, maybe I could take it to E3 and just kind of show people my idea. So he got a trailer together, and he has the idea sketched out and everything. We're going to show all that stuff. So the idea is just to network, see if anybody else is interested in helping him make the game or publish the game, and just see what happens.
Yeah. Okay. Just kind of he'll have a demo and something to play, right?
It won't be. I don't think it's going to be anything interactive yet, but we'll have like the concept for the game all sketched out.
Okay.
We have a Kickstarter, which I can get the information for that. That's what his news was when he just knocked on my door just now.
Yeah.
We got a Kickstarter that's live, and
Cool.
people can donate to the game, and that's going to be the main thrust of the booth, is to show people the Kickstarter. If you like it, support the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How many tiers does it have to go through before it gets a Switch port?
I have no idea.
on the Kickstarter.
I have no idea.
Is it one of those things where, if it's probably, I don't know how the game works, like if it would work well with the controller or not, if it's a mobile game. But I can put it in the notes of the show and all that.
Sure. Yep.
But speaking of E3 stuff, you messaged me about it earlier, but apparently Fortnite's been found in the eShop. Somebody data mined it and found an icon for that.
Yeah, that was
Isn't that
big
correct?
news IGN put out this morning. There is strong evidence that Fortnite is coming to Switch. Of course, this has been a rumor for a while. Things kind of heated up in the last 2 weeks
and it's
or so.
literally on everything else, really.
It is on everything else, including phones, so there's no reason it shouldn't be on there.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I mean,
This is like back in the day when Netflix was being put on everything. There's no surprise here.
And there's still no Netflix on the Switch.
Shh.
Yeah. I guess there was an update to the eShop. I don't know if you guys caught that or not, but there's new categories now. Now there's a featured category, which shows games that I guess they want you to look at or whatever. And there's a great deals category now instead of
which
sales.
Replaced on sale, right?
Yeah. So a featured category shows the Octo expansion for Splatoon 2 and Dundar's in there and Glass Gungeon. There's indies that I guess they're pushing or in the featured area. So it's cool that there's kind of a way for them to push games that have come out along earlier, but they still want people to get it. So there's a little bit.
I did look at the video for Shape of the World, which is the latest release as of now.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like Proteus. Have either of you played that game, or any of you played that game, Proteus?
Mm-mm.
It's on PC. Well, it's like a procedurally generated, abstract 3D game where you kind of just go around and the world kind of builds itself around you, and you discover wildlife and kind of follow it around. And this game looks a lot like that. It's almost identical. In fact, it's a little less abstract. There's actual plants and stuff growing around you. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that game. I was like, man, that looks. I watched the video for it right before we started recording, and it looked just like Proteus.
Weird. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at it. I haven't taken a look at it yet.
It's $15, so a little pricey and it looks like it's a walking simulator kind of thing.
Oh, okay. My favorite game, walking simulators. Speaking of walking simulators, it's actually not a walking simulator, but Blaze Blue Tag Tournament's out now, or whatever is Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle for $50, which I was really interested in that game at one point, but after playing the demo, I'm so confused by it that I can't really bring myself to spend $50 on it.
Oh, there's a demo?
Because I have no idea what's going on. There is a demo, yeah. But the demo was an online mode, and I was confused through the whole thing, so it's kind of maybe I'll wait on that one. But there was a couple, aside from the Fortnite thing, the Blob got a release date. That's coming out the 26th of June, so there's another game to the pile of June releases. Seem to be a lot of those.
Is it just the first one, or there's a package with the second one?
I think it's just the first one. They should do it the same way that they did Ikaruga and release it for $15. That would be great. But I don't know how they would do that. By the way, some of the
Blob a lot. It's kind of a precursor to Splatoon in some ways.
Yeah, sort of, because you're painting stuff. And it's like a monochromatic world where there's monochromatic cops that don't want you to paint stuff. I remember that. It's all about color, and it's different from the post-apocalyptic squid world of Splatoon, but it's as similar, I guess. And I remember it also had that music that would change depending on what you do, and I always like games that do that, where there's stuff added to it depending on what how you play the game.
I bought that game on day one, and one of the perks was they gave you a T-shirt with the game, and open the T-shirt up, and it's like this yellow shirt, and it's like a size small, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's being marketed towards kids. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I like this game.
Obviously not being marketed to blobs.
Not the blobs, no.
Otherwise, it'd be one size fits all.
I guess.
Right.
I guess they didn't ask you what your size was before they gave you the shirt.
It was just game? Like, as I recall, I think it was like attached to the game or something.
No.
Like, so it just came in the package.
I remember you were.
I think it was a situation. Remember the Wii had those, like with Skyward Sword or whatever. They had a box sometimes.
Yeah, the Skyward Sword came with a CD.
Like, a small shirt could fit in the box. It seems like that kind of deal.
Okay. Yeah, there's not like you didn't get it from GameStop. They don't have like you can't get a bigger shirt or whatever.
No, I got it at Best Buy.
Okay, because sometimes like the pre-ordered shirts, you'll get to pick your size. It's not a tiny one. I remember you telling me a similar story about Scribble Knots, where you got a really tiny rooster hat that you couldn't wear.
I got the rooster hat because I had got Scribble Knots on day one, and I was just disappointed the hat was so small.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I couldn't wear it.
Yeah, it's too much. It's all kids stuff, I guess. There. One more quick news thing, and then we'll take a break. Apparently, Square has said that they're secretly working on other new Nintendo games aside from Octopath Traveler. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah, I heard they've got a whole division devoted to Switch.
Yeah, and that they'll be revealing it later, or at E3, maybe. I don't know. I'm really interested in that. I know one of Jereme's predictions for E3 was that a official Final Fantasy game will come to the Switch, like any of the numbered ones. So I'd really like to see that.
I think this is going to be like a huge E3 for Nintendo because it's been a while. Switch made its first appearance at E3 probably
two
maybe
E3s
like 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, because 2 years ago it was Zelda. Last year it was Zelda, Mario was the big thing, and this one is I don't know, Smash Brothers. Tennis.
It's been a while now, and the Switch is definitely the monster hit that it is. And the creators have had time. Third parties have had time to get on board. I think we're going to see a lot of cool stuff from third parties at this E3. It's going to be a big show.
Well, I also saw, this is another kind of news thing, but it's also like a speculation thing. On Twitch's like E3 showing list that they're doing, they have the Nintendo part of it marked off for 45 minutes from like, was it 9 Pacific to 9:45? So people are speculating that it's a 45-minute direct going on, but people also think that that's just that they did that just to have extra time. Maybe it'll only be 30 minutes, but if it's 45 minutes, that's pretty long.
Yeah, it's pretty long.
For their showcase or their spotlight or whatever they're calling it. So, but
I have a goal when I go next week. I've got my Power Glove back here. I'm going to be wearing my Power Glove.
Why? So you can, so
I'm
you can
going to
look
try and get
extra
it
weird.
signed by more Nintendo people. I got it signed by Charles Martinet. I'm going to see who else I can get. I'm bringing a silver Sharpie with me.
Like
That's awesome, man.
Like Reggie and Miyamoto and Aonuma or whoever else, Trenin, whoever else you can find.
Yep. I'm going to hit them all up. I'll be
Fred
shameless.
Savage.
Fred
If
Savage.
he's there.
Yeah.
He's signing the glove.
Yeah, nice. Well, hopefully you get it signed. Is there any other news that I forgot that you guys have?
No, not really. Other than there is an official, like you said, the official Nintendo Direct during the E3. So
yeah, well, we knew that. We've known that for a while. But
we
now
knew it would happen.
Now, well, it's had a schedule for like the past like month or something. But now people are thinking that it might be like close to an hour long, which, hey, why not? But cool. All right.
Did we mention they weren't going to talk about 3DS games according to the rumor?
I didn't hear anything about that, but that wouldn't surprise me.
So that's kind of throwing some shade at the 3DS, especially since they just released the newest like special edition of it or whatever.
Oh yeah, there is a new special edition. There's like another Link one with a shield on it or something, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're also going to be doing like Treehouse stuff all day. And if it's anything like last year, they did their Spotlight, but they also announced stuff outside of the Spotlight. So they did the same thing for 3DS, where they announced like the new 2DS and the Metroid game that came out, not outside of the Spotlight.
Which it makes sense. It would need to be front and center, like people live streaming. Like, let's just talk about the 3DS stuff after.
Yeah.
3DS fans will just look up the video on YouTube later.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that they won't talk about 3DS, but it might not be in the Spotlight, which is fine with me. Cool. All right, let's take a break.
Sounds good.
So, Sam, let's talk about Toy De Jour, a place that I have mentioned a couple times on this show. I know I mentioned it to a friend of the show, Nate Lockhart, who was here from... He came to town for the Midwest Gaming Classic and was in Chicago for a couple days, and he didn't visit Toy De Jour, and I gave him a hard time for doing that and told him that he had to go next time.
Yeah,
and,
he's from Buffalo.
Yeah, he's from Buffalo. But I made sure to mention it before. Plus, it's one of my favorite places to go to. I've taken Jereme over there a few times, and I
mentioned it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I have a couple things, and even in my game room here from Toy De Jour, I got my thing that I just bought right here. He hangs out over here, but next to me, so got him hanging out. Most of the other ones, he's the only one that actually came out of the package. All the other ones are on walls, like in the living room and my room. But
I remember correctly, his package was ready to be opened anyway, right?
Yeah, his package was kind of falling apart, so we decided to open him and take him out. But plus, he had like his Sky Cycle in there that you could put together. So
then you gotta.
Yeah, but talk to me about Toy De Jour and like how like. Have you always been... Oh, yeah, Jereme also talked about his cartridge that he got with all the extra games on there from your place.
So,
you cut me a nice deal on this, too, by the way, so thank you for that.
Yeah, right on. But I'm assuming it worked then.
Oh, it works fine. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. So what... I didn't hear the episode, but what was all on there? Because like I said, I only tested it to make sure it turned on my Game Boy. So, what...
Yeah, so it has this GT racing game. I think it was like towards the launch of the Game Boy Advance, and so it's kind of mode 70. It's got like a Twin Bee game. That's
that was a launch game too.
Transport. Yeah, and then everything else is Famicom ports. So a lot of it's in Japanese, but there's like 10 or however many. It does end up being 21 games total. So yeah, like 19.
Plus the 3.
And it's a bunch of random like Famicom games, like Ice Climbers on there, I think, and like Urban Champion, and it's pretty random.
No. You know what? I'm starting to remember where that came from, because we buy things at the shop, and like more often than not, stuff will get thrown in a box and tossed in the back before it makes it to the sales floor. But I believe that came out of a lot that I got from our friend Ryan Brown, who is a local comic creator.
Okay.
Anybody's familiar, but he does a book called Curse Words, and he has a book called God Hates Astronauts.
I've heard about the second one.
Yeah. He's a local guy, and he brought in a bunch of childhood stuff. not to stray too far, but he brought in a Game Boy Color with a camera attached to it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Before I went to go sell it, I looked on it, and there was a picture of him with some girl. The rest of the pictures were all like obviously a little brother. Just like his face, like inventing selfies before selfies were a thing. But this picture of him and his girl, I took a picture of it and sent it to him. I was like, "Hey, do you need this?" He's like, "Holy crap, that's my high school girlfriend." And then apparently he didn't tell his wife about that picture that I sent him, so he got in a little bit of trouble next time I met up with them.
No. Was it scandalous? It's kind of hard to tell in Game Boy Camera pictures.
I mean, it's still a selfie.
Yeah.
It's just it's like an old phone.
Yeah.
It was like, obviously the family was sitting in the room and they're on the couch together.
Yeah, and they're like, who is she? And like, that's you. You can't tell? I mean, it's Game Boy Color camera. You can't really tell. Yeah, we forgot to mention that it was the 20th anniversary of the Game Boy Camera, and we were going to talk about that in the beginning. But yeah, what better way to mention it than that? I mean, with that great story about it.
So, so did this also come from that person, or was this different?
Yep.
Wow. So I've got a game from like a legendary comic creator.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
That's kind of cool. I've also I purchased a Metroid shirt from you also, but I don't know exactly where it is. But I think Prime. It was like a Metroid Prime 2 Echoes shirt.
Oh, with the weird side print, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I think that might have been something that was like hanging in my closet for years, and then I was like, I'm not gonna wear it so much.
But yeah, it's totally like you're saying. It's like it's all like on the right or the left side. I can't remember. It says the logo, and then Sam's is kind of hanging out on my ribs.
Yeah.
Speaking of the anniversary, did anybody see that the guy who hooked up the lens to the Game Boy Camera? Oh man, I
did see that.
Hooked it up to like a
that huge ridiculous lens on the Game Boy Camera. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, hooked it up to like a zoom lens, right?
Or
Yeah. No, I did see that. It's crazy.
I think he took a picture of the moon, right?
Yeah.
That's insane. Good old Game Boy Camera. I mean, it was pretty much did selfies before selfies were ever a thing. I mean, Nintendo has always been known for being ahead of the game, so they definitely were in that aspect.
I did.
It's kind of unfortunate about your friend, but that would be funny if that was like the Game Boy Camera caused a divorce somewhere.
When you said like a picture of him with the girl, I was like, is there like a Game Boy Camera like porno in there? Is that what you're talking about? Like, that's the first thing my mind went to, but. Actually, I bought my 3DS from a friend of mine. This girl on Facebook was trying to get rid of it. Like the first 3DS I got, I bought it from her for $100 or something like that. And she made a point to make sure and delete all the pictures that she had on there with her boyfriend before she gave it to me. So I thought that was funny. I don't know what was on there because I never saw any of them. But she's like, I got to make sure all these pictures aren't on here. I'm like, okay. I'm like, what you've been taking?
I think that's fair.
3D pictures. Yeah. But she said there were pictures of so that's the thing. I guess people have taken pictures of their significant others with Nintendo stuff before.
I mean, it's a camera. What do you do with cameras? You take photos of the stuff you want to photograph.
Yeah, right.
But
stuff being people also.
Like you said, ahead of their time. They were even putting the frames on there, you know?
Yep.
How long
kind of filters, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could even make little stickers out of it and stick them on stuff. Which they didn't last very long. Like I remember I put some on my wallet and they like rubbed off pretty quickly. Like the ink went away pretty quickly on those Game Boy printer stickers.
It was thermal paper, right?
I don't know.
I don't think it was ink, it was thermal, so that would make sense that it would just like rub away eventually, like the special heat resistant coating.
Yeah, well however I don't know how they did it, but it would I remember I put stickers on my wallet and it just
I'm almost positive it was
off.
it was thermal paper because I think I've seen hacks where people have taken other thermal paper and used it. Because obviously you can't buy refills for the Game Boy printer from Nintendo.
Mm-hmm. Not anymore. But we got completely sidetracked with Game Boy Camera. But it's the 20th anniversary. But I wanted to know what I wanted to know like some of your story here about what brought you to having a toy store in Chicago. Sam, have you had a toy store before elsewhere, or like I'm sure you've always been a collector, right, of that?
Yeah, try to make this a short version since it's my entire life. But I've always collected. I've only ever stopped for high school, but that's actually where my wife and I met. And then once we were out of high school, we both kind of started getting back into toys. Mm-hmm. And from there, it would be like hitting the thrift store, trying to find stuff for your collection. And then that kind of spitballed into having too much stuff and selling it at toy shows.
Oh, okay.
So we've always done that. We've, it evolved to some eBay sales here and there. But Toy De Jour, the name actually, the misspelled name, the DE instead of DU, came from my first real job here in Chicago was for Devil's Due Publishing. We published G.I.Joe, Joe versus Transformers, like Family Guy, a bunch of stuff. I got a job there. And around the cubicles, everybody would have a ton of toys set up. Believe it or not, I had the most. Like I brought in the most amount of toys. And every day I would make it a point to bring in something new for people to kind of like check out like on the ledge of my cube and like come mess with.
Sure.
So it was the toy of the day.
Wow.
Of the day. Wow.
When I left Devil's Due, I kind of kept it alive. Liz and I did like a little WordPress blog or something, like a blog spot. Just, kind of keeping it going with like mini reviews of toys. And when I went to go buy the URL, the Toy De Jour, DU, was gone already. I was like, screw it, DE. So it's spawned since then. The store itself is 4 years. Yeah, 4 years as of March. Yeah, so it's a really truncated history of where the shop came from.
And what kind of, because I've never been there before, I'm the only one who hasn't. So what kind of stuff do you focus on? Is it like vintage collectibles or modern toys, or what's your spin?
The full line, or the full name of the shop is Toy De Jour Vintage, Toys, Arts and Parts. So it gets the point across, if people aren't paying attention, that it says vintage toys. But to stay true to the reason we put commas in there, we have vintage items in there, such as vintage clothing and vintage household stuff. But that is maybe I'd say like 15-20% of what's in the shop. The rest of it is vintage toys, collectibles. And so the rest of it being arts and farts, we have like a novelty section, which is the fart stuff, just to kind of like give people a place to go if they need a fart machine, in the city.
Yeah.
And then the
I do too.
is we do these semi-regular art shows where we pick a theme, do a little group show, like we've done Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles. Just get people in there, get some local artists that.
I liked your Ladies of the 80s. That was a cool one that you guys did.
Yeah. That might have been a bit reactive to current social.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
It was so cool though. I loved the art that
Yeah. No, definitely. It was one we wanted to do. And there's some such as that. We did one Kitty Cat Attack, which was pick any cat from any pop culture thing and do a piece on a cat. So that one and the Ladies of the 80s, we feel like those might have legs enough to be like maybe annual events. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Was Ladies of the 80s, was that the one I saw a painting of Samus in there? That was from that, right?
Yep.
From Metroid? Yeah.
Oh, blew me away. Yeah,
that one was cool.
Fantastic.
You have one coming up too, right?
Yeah, so we have one this Friday, which is June 8th, which is Icons. It's celebrating LGBT icons. And we ask people within the community or allies of the community to do pieces based off of their favorite icons within that community. Mm-hmm. So that's this Friday. And then we have one coming up next month in July that we actually haven't put a date on, but it's it's more of a loose, it's not so much an art show. There will be art, but it's the G.I.Joe Day, where it's just like, because G.I.Joe is like my first and foremost thing that I like. Mm-hmm. I just like to have a day where I let other Joe nerds come and talk,
Nice.
When I was in there most recently, there was another another customer who was just like into the G.I. Joes. I remember was looking at all of them. So it's definitely, it seems like you're kind of like a spot that.
Yeah, it's prevalent because I look for it myself when buying, and then there's always extra that goes into the shop. Mm-hmm. If somebody's anywhere near that Joe case, I'm going to start talking to them.
Which I don't know if we've mentioned it before, but I also love the tree outside the shop with the parts hanging from it. That's really cool.
Toy ornaments.
Yeah, that's a byproduct from another thing that we have in the shop. My wife Liz, who creates these little taxidermy trophy wall mounts of plastic dinosaurs and tigers and stuff. So she'll cut the heads off of older toys and mount them in some sort of funny way. And then the bodies, you just have a body left. So they've been over the years strung out on the tree.
Yeah, I know that. Was she the one? Because I've seen ones that are amalgamations also, where you have ones sort of mixed with other things, or new toys created from 2 different toys or 3 different toys. I've seen stuff in there also that you guys did. I remember there was a Castle Grayskull or something that was all painted different or something like that.
That's not, but that's something else that we try to work for. Is that there's so many local toy creators too. So we try to. And that's hitting 2 of the marks there, the arts and the toys. Mm-hmm. So we try to give some space to local folks that have their own wares. We have Nerfict, who is pretty big in the DIY toy community. And then there's Galaxor, who's been doing a lot of 5.5 custom figures, but they're factory produced pieces. And then the stuff that you're talking about is actually a guy who goes by Battle Babies, where it's just kind of he should be locked up, but instead he's making toy customs. Yeah. And I think that's keeping everyone safe at the moment. The weird creations that he's been putting into the shop and on his Instagram.
Yeah, no, I'm sure I've seen pictures of both of that and the taxidermy stuff. I always thought that was really cool. This taking toys and putting them together and creating a new thing and all that. It's interesting. Yeah, especially on
it's interesting.
Instagram or what's in the shop as well. Would you say that G.I. Joe is your favorite toy then? I was going to ask you what your favorite toy was.
Yeah, no, I know that my video's not on, but I'm currently sitting in a room that's just completely filled with G.I. Joe stuff.
Oh. Is that why it's not on? You don't want to show all your Joes?
Yeah, I got to keep the location a secret.
Oh, sure.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, how early did you get into that? I'm not, how old are you?
I was born in 78. So, the small figures, which is what I'm into, started in 82.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're that little, you're not choosing what you're into. It's your parents are in the checkout line and they're like, "Oh, this is cheap. Here, we'll get this." Yeah. But it worked. Mm-hmm. So yeah, since 82, it's kind of been nonstop.
And that's the old ones.
So you started out with the small figures. You didn't get into giant G.I. Joes. Like that was the old school G.I. Joe.
The actual like Joe or whatever was like the big ones. You're talking about the little ones with the rubber bands in the middle, right? Or like the black rubber bands.
Yep.
And
And the multi-posable hands and
the Star Wars
twisties.
figures were the same scale, right?
They-
Scale.
3.75.
They were, but they did not move as much as the G.I. Joe figures. That's for sure. Like they couldn't, they couldn't move their like torsos around and twist their arms and all that stuff. Star Wars ones, they just like, they just go up and down. Their arms don't like bend or anything like that. Yeah, that's cool. I was curious, like what probably sparked the whole toy thing was probably the G.I. Joes and all that. And so you said you stopped collecting for a while in high school, right? Like just completely dead turkey, like a cold turkey or whatever. You didn't buy any.
I think that's what most folks do, even if they are super into any sort of like geek culture, like until they know it's safe,
Oh,
Yeah, I made a big like pomp of
yeah.
circumstance that giving my brother all my toys.
I stopped in college just because I was broke, but I never stopped like through high school. That's why I was curious because I remember like one of my best friends in fourth grade, like or fifth grade, we were friends because like we were like probably the only people that we knew that still collected toys. So like that was our thing. Like we still played with toys like towards the end of grade school and like junior high somewhat too, and that was like pretty much the whole reason we were friends, I think, is because we still bought toys, and everybody else had been like, oh, we don't buy toys anymore. But then when I got into high school, I would buy them and not open them. Like, so a lot of those 90s Marvel ones that I buy from you are stuff that I collected in high school,
Oh, right on.
So, because I was huge, I was huge into comics. So, like, pretty much in the 90s, there were really hardly any superhero movies, or really any good ones. So basically anything that had to do with comic books, I had to kind of latch onto because it wasn't really there. It wasn't like it is now, where like everything is a reference to an old Star Wars joke or whatever. It was like back then it was kind of hard being a nerd and finding stuff that pertained to that.
All I remember
I kind of latched on all that stuff.
I was born in 82, but my dad like got really into collecting baseball cards in like the early 90s, and he started doing that and going to like shows and stuff, and that escalated into like toys. So I just remember like the only like action figures I remember being a big deal were the Spawn ones, because he like had the Malabolgia, like the big like the one that would like damage the card or whatever from hanging. I remember that being a big deal that he found one of those.
John Leguizamo.
I remember seeing those for the first time, and that was like, whoa, these are a different breed of action figure. It's like so much more detailed, and they really looked a lot better than the rest.
My dad was just hustling them though. He was like selling them at game shows and stuff, or toy shows, and But I remember seeing those things, and then all the starting lineups, of course, were a thing too. But like those are the action figures I remember being like collectible back in the high school days.
I forgot about starting lineup.
That was always my joke when somebody says like adult toys. I'd be like, oh, what, you mean like starting lineup toys? Because that's what I would always think
I
of.
still have
like adult toys.
Starting lineup.
I'm like, oh yeah, boring sports toys. that was always a catchphrase that I had. So how big is your G.I. Joe collection now? I know you said they're all behind you, but has it gotten pretty close to a whole collection, or do you have whole collections of stuff? Or I don't know. Like I feel like something like G.I. Joe would be like so much stuff to collect.
Yeah, there's certain levels to, like, if you say you're a completist, there's certain things that were like, so the original run lasted from 82 to 94, and I'm complete on that. As far as figures go, there's vehicles that I just kind of passed on because I didn't have the space at the time. But like I'm always like actively hunting now and stuff shop, so it's a little easier too. But then the line picked up again in 97, and since then I've been buying everything they release. But then saying I'm a completist, if they release something in 97 and then the next year only the packaging changes, I'm not gonna.
You're not gonna get both
because I already have that same figure,
Oh sure, yeah. I mean that sort of detail could be insane, or would completely bankrupt you, I guess, depending on how, because some of that stuff could be extra expensive, I'm sure, like if it's a different card, or like I ran into that with collecting some of the Star Wars stuff from the 90s, where it's like there was like a Han Solo figure that had like the carbonite like spelled wrong, and like that one's like way more expensive, we'd always look for stuff like that, and it's like it's ridiculous, I mean, it's
what about like the wasn't there a Street Fighter 2 G.I. Joe line?
Oh yeah, there was.
Did you
I had Chun-Li, and I think my brother had Blanca.
Nice. Do you have those?
No, I don't have them anymore.
Do you have them, Sam?
I do, and I include those because they were part of the main line.
They were branded as G.I. Joe?
Yeah, they were.
Huh?
Oh, really?
Street Fighter G.I. Joe?
Hasbro also released a 3 3/4 Mortal Kombat series after Joe had ended.
Oh,
but
nice.
It wasn't branded G.I. Joe at all, even though they use a lot of the same parts and accessories.
So it would have been weird if the Netherrealm existed in the G.I. Joe world. Street Fighter I could see, but yeah.
Yeah, but so like the Mortal Kombat stuff I'll pick up here and there, but I don't feel the need to collect it because it didn't have a Joe logo on it, you know?
No, wait, hold on a second, John. So you say that you're saying that Mortal Kombat can exist in the G.I. Joe world? Jax is a G.I. Joe figure, dude. Like, seriously.
Is he?
I mean, no,
so?
look at him. He's a big dude with metal arms. He's a cop. Like, he is a fucking G.I. Joe figure. I'm just saying.
But it makes more like demons and everything, like, doesn't quite mesh.
Yeah, but there's demons in Street Fighter. I feel like G.I. Joe makes more sense with Mortal Kombat than it would with Street Fighter. I mean, at least Mortal Kombat and G.I. Joe are both like American properties, whereas like
but G.I. Joe has
Street
like
Fighter's
the Guile
more like
connection.
Japanese.
That's why I get G.I. Joe.
I know, but I mean, Jax is just. I think Jax is much of a. I mean, he would like be standing next to that guy with the parrot on his shoulder or whatever. I feel like they'd be buddies, you know. Same sort of weird. I don't know, weird characters. What do you think, Sam? Do you think G.I. Joe fits more with Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter?
I'm gonna stick with Street Fighter, but I feel like that's just me being brainwashed by the fact that it was already included.
Oh, okay. Because I think it
between the two properties, I've always felt closer to Street Fighter in general as a game than Mortal Kombat.
Sure. I just felt like Street Fighter's kind of from a different world than G.I. Joe. Like those having those together for me seems weirder than Mortal Kombat and G.I. Joe. I mean, they both involve demons. Like, have you played the story mode on Street Fighter V? It gets way weirder. Trust me.
But I guess if Street Fighter is in the G.I. Joe world, then Street Fighter is also in the Transformers world. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah. Because G.I. Joe and Transformers have crossed over. So that would mean that Street Fighter and Transformers are in the same world.
So that car that Ryu is beating up, like in the bonus level, that's like really that's really Bumblebee.
No.
You're saying that's really Bumblebee?
That's a Transformer kill shelter.
Yeah.
In the first,
Just like taken care of.
in the first Joe versus Transformer crossover back in the 80s that Marvel did, the first issue, the Joes accidentally kill Bumblebee. So that kind of with maybe that car.
I hope that's what they're going towards with there being a Bumblebee movie. Like eventually they can cross over with G.I. Joe and they'll kill him. Something like that.
Maybe that's why he's like so like afraid in the trailer. He's like cowering in the corner when he sees that girl because he remembers the time he got killed before.
It might be like the Baroness or somebody from a G.I. Joe. You never know. On the subject of video game toys, I was thinking we had a top 5 last week about top 5 racing games, and I kind of wanted to keep it as a recurring thing. But I was thinking about top 5 best video game based toys, and you would know more about this than I do, so I didn't really come up with a list. But we mentioned the Street Fighter and the Mortal Kombat one, but are there any other like crazy ones that you've seen like through your collecting and all that you want to mention?
Let's see. I know that the original Bandai Mega Man figures are a pretty great line. As far as I'm concerned, they did. I think that was like 87. They did a small series, maybe like 10 figures. Some of them are pretty atrocious, but like in that itself, it's endearing. You know, like I think the Bright Man was pretty gross. Oh man, who else is in that? The Snake Man is amazing.
Yeah, which Mega Man is it from? Like which set of robots? Like, or is it just kind of like up till 6 or whatever was out at the time?
It's loosely based on the cartoon.
Okay,
but the designs take a little bit more from the game than the cartoon did. Yeah, and those get kind of pricey. It's hard to find them now. I'm still not complete on the line, but I've got some of the heavy hitters out of the way. And so far, like I said, Snake Man is the best by far out of all of those.
Nice.
I don't have it, and if that's it hanging out behind you there on your shelf, I'm super jealous. But the Samus figure that Nintendo did in the early 90s.
Oh, I don't.
Nintendo Power.
The actual figure? No, I don't. Well, I have the I do have the trophies. I have a couple of those trophies from the 80s that they made. Just bought me one for my birthday. I have a Zelda one that she got me, and I also have a Mario one that I got from then. But I think the Samus one that's behind me is a bobblehead, They came out Metroid Prime 1 time. I bought it from GameStop, so it wasn't actually the Nintendo Power one. So it's not technically a toy, I guess. It's like a metal. It's a bobblehead, but like her, it's just her torso moves instead of her head. But it's kind of one of those things that I picked up. But yeah, no, I remember seeing some Japanese Metroid toys, like not actually in person because I would have bought them if I did. But there was a line that I saw at Hollywood Mirror like over in Wrigleyville. Like I found a couple of the Super Monkey Ball toys there, like in the balls and all that, and those are behind me also. But if you look on the back of the card, there's pictures of like Samus and like some other stuff, and I never found those, but it would be cool. I know there's like World of Nintendo toys, which are kind of newer, but I was curious.
I mean, that line
Game Watches.
Yeah. I've kept up on the World of Nintendo. Like I wasn't a big fan of Star Fox ever, so like I let those slide. But even they've done a great job on those figures. That like having never played the game.
Oh sure,
I just wanted the figures,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you had some in there last time we were there. Like I remember the Dixie Kong one looked really cool.
Oh right, yeah. But like the larger, they're like maybe 6 to 8 inch Metroids that they've done of the actual Metroids.
Yeah,
they're such great figures.
Yeah.
I think we have maybe like 4 of them.
Oh wow! In the store or just in your collection?
No, here at home. Yeah, just because like having a bunch of Metroids just hanging around makes sense,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you got to be careful. They might like sneak up on you and suck your brains. But yeah, I'm just floating around. That's cool.
We're trying to hit 5. I think I said the Mega Man Bandai figures, the Nintendo Power Samus figure. Yeah. Which I'm gonna hold that up as a grail because like unless you have a few $100s to throw down on an eBay thing, like. It's not an easy find. do you now remember how you got it from Nintendo Power? Like, did you have to send in with points or like, I don't remember seeing it. I mean, I read Nintendo Power pretty heavily in grade school and high school and college, but I don't remember seeing it on there. Do you remember how you got it? I'm fairly certain that if you find it at an auction, they will have listed that it's X out of so many. And I feel like the number is either like 500 or 1,000 or something.
Oh, okay.
Something small.
So it wasn't like, could you win it or did you actually buy it? Like how was one to get a hold of it? Like when it came out?
I have no idea. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just curious because I remember seeing like T-shirts and soundtracks. Like I got stuff like that, but I don't remember ever seeing a Metroid figure because like Metroid's like one of my favorite series, like game series, and Super Metroid's like my favorite game also. And I was like, man, I don't think I've seen that. But I mean, I guess you could consider the Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter ones as part of the list, unless there's better ones. I was gonna say, like the very first time that I went to your store, the very first toy that I bought there was Ganondorf. I bought a Ganondorf toy. So
yeah, that series was great too. Like what was it, like early 2000?
Yeah, it was the Ocarina of Time. It was from the Ocarina of Time series. But yeah, that was the first toy I bought there, and I was like, this place is cool, because I was like, because I was kind of like, oh, I bought toys, and like I was kind of out of it, I guess, because like I said, I kind of ran out of money, so I stopped buying toys for a while because I had to like, it was like it's like an addict, you have to take whatever money you have and figure out. I had to like pretty much just spend it on comic books and video games. There was no room for toys too, so I had to kind of cut them out. But yeah, I was like, when I went over there, I was like, well, I don't know if I'll get anything. And then I saw that Ganon one, I was like, okay, I get that. But I always respected like how good your prices were. I never really felt like anything was overpriced over there, especially for loose figures.
Right on. I like how your store's laid out too. Like, I don't know, it's really fun to look around, and then you've got all the kind of like I don't know what you'd call them, the grab bag kind of stuff. You've got a few of those up front usually, where you can get the little like Lego figures, or you know what I mean, whatever those are called.
Yeah.
So it's cool, like looking around, seeing all the old toys, but still having access to some of like the new, more impulse buy stuff at the front.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the store kind of reflects like us as collectors. My wife Liz and I, just because that's all stuff that like we would want to buy and have bought, obviously.
Of course, yeah.
Ourselves. It was a realization, I'd say, like a year into it, that it was like, oh, I have to also cater to things that I don't know, like, or understand.
Yeah.
Where it's, like the younger crowd, asking if we have any Minecraft stuff. And it's like, no, I don't. Why do you want that?
Because it's huge. Yeah. Because
they do. Yeah.
Because all the kids love it. I guess. Yeah.
And for anybody listening who might not live in Chicago, like myself, do you do sales online and stuff too? Can I go on your website and get some of the stuff?
Yeah. Actually, the best place to find stuff from us is our Instagram, and it's just at Toy De Jour with the DE again. We also, everything that we put on our Instagram is mirrored on our Facebook, but for some reason, Facebook business notifications don't come to us as easily as Instagram ones do. So if you see something that you like on Facebook, send us a message through there instead of like commenting, because we might not see it. But definitely Instagram. The only things we really put on our website are any pieces of artwork that are left over from previous art shows, and then other things that we create, like art prints, anything like that, you know.
Cool. And I've seen pictures of like when you pick up like a bunch of stuff, just like stacks of whatever you're looking for. But yeah, sometimes when it's a specific thing, you see a lot of comments that are like, "I want it," or "I'll take it," or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you could find a way to PayPal or something, maybe.
No, absolutely. Yeah, we ship anywhere. Honestly, yeah, we ship international. One of our customers in Turkey just got something shipped out to them today. So yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't know you guys did that too.
There's a lot of people that are on Instagram that won't ship outside of the country, but I've actually had this guy that he's a really good customer. He's in Turkey. He saw something on another person's Instagram, and I knew he'd been wanting it for a while, and I was like, I'll just buy it from them and ship it to you.
Nice. That's awesome.
Ship that to you. Yeah,
that's great.
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome, man.
That's cool. Do you have people come in from? I know you look at a lot. Like I'm sure people bring you a lot of boxes of stuff, or you look through stuff that people have. Do you have people come from out of the country to show you stuff, or have you seen stuff and asked people to send it or whatever?
Yeah, we won't buy from anybody if they have to ship it to us. We do, have to see it in the shop.
Of course, yeah. You want to actually look at it. You don't want to.
Yeah, I had a pretty horrible trade right off the bat on Instagram, where like I was trading stuff that I wanted personally for my G.I.Joe collection. It was a guy in the UK who was like absolutely bonkers for Ninja Turtle stuff, and like I guess it was it's more prevalent here, so I had so much more to offer him, and like just stuff like common figures that we have in the shop all the time. He was like losing his mind for, and then he shows me like, I don't know, here's some Joes I had when I was little, and he's got all these like UK exclusive figures that I'm like doing the exact same thing. Like, oh my God, I want all these figures. I sent him his stuff. He sent me my stuff, and I gave him the wrong zip code.
Oh.
And so for over a year, package was gone. And in that time period, he disappeared off of Instagram. I was like, all right, I got screwed. And it eventually showed up at the shop.
Oh,
yeah.
So you did get it.
How long did
so
it
you
take
didn't
to show
get
up?
screwed.
I think it was like maybe a year and a half, a little less.
Well, you got screwed, but in a
Yeah, no, it showed up, and like when it walked in, like I didn't even have to see the label. I knew what it was, how tattered and like worldly it was by that point.
Wow.
And was all the contents okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
But the toys did come through. Like, it wasn't like a thing where, like, the toys were all, like, scratched up or they didn't look like how whatever the picture was they showed you or anything like that.
I was completely honest. Yeah.
They all had PTSD.
Yeah.
From all the shit they done.
You don't know where we've been.
We were
Like
in the
small
real
soldiers
war.
all over again.
We were in the real war. Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, I didn't even really think. I thought you were going to say that they sent you the wrong thing or they didn't take a picture of like the back that was all messed up or something like that. Like one of those sort of a shady thing, where it's like they don't give you all the details because part of the toy is messed up or something like that.
Right. But I mean, that is a big reason why we won't just, somebody messages us on Instagram like, I have this stuff. It's like, that's great, but unless it's here at the shop, I'm not gonna pay for shipping or worry about it getting here.
I would say like there's been a few things you've posted, especially video game related, that have gotten like grabbed up like before I even had a chance to see your post. So I think it's important to mention, like, follow Toy De Jour, because
check it off.
Anytime something cool is posted, it gets bought up real fast.
Yeah, a lot of times.
I mean, that's what I've noticed. Everything I've wanted.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll see something, I'll be like, "Oh, that looks cool," but it's like I'm afraid that I don't have enough money to outbid whoever else wants it. So it's kind of like, I'll just hope that somebody doesn't get it, and maybe it'll be in there when I make it back in.
Usually, what's the price? Like, you just like
Yeah. It's kind of what I think about it. It's like try not to get too crazy about trying to get it. I was like, well, if it's there and I'll see it, I get it.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Instead of the impulse. Like, yes, now. What did I just buy?
Yeah, it's try to make myself less bankrupt, I guess, in the end, and wait till I mean, that's probably why you don't see me as often as you normally would, is because most of the time when I do come in there, I have money to spend, so I'm planning on like spending a good amount of money, when I do come in there. That's why I don't come in there like every week. It's kind of like for my own good, I guess. I
have to say, like I visited there a few times now, but I like that you always have a Garfield section. There's always like a little Garfield section. That's something I've noticed. It's been consistent every time I visited.
Mm.
Yeah, I think they just appear. I don't remember ever seeing any of them from people. Yeah, and they sell too. They sell pretty well.
When I was at the Midwest Gaming Classic recently in Milwaukee, like there was this booth of all Garfield toys. It was just like an end cap kind of thing, and it was the exact same stuff that had been there the year before. Like, there's
you needed to buy all of them.
Niche market of Garfield merchandise.
There was so much Garfield crap in the 80s, though. I mean, like, impossible to get rid of.
Well, it was huge, and he had that Garfield and Friends show, and it's yeah. I just always liked that egg, the egg with legs. That was probably my favorite character.
Sheldon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sheldon.
I think everybody had at least one of the Garfield collection books. Like, pretty much everybody had the collection of the comics. You had at least one if you were born in the 80s.
Yeah, I had one. I think we all did. Is there any like a toy line that like you weren't necessarily into before you got into Toy De Jour that you like discovered like while you've been collecting stuff to sell it that you think's really cool?
There's always been toy lines that like I've known that like eventually I would get into, but it's sort of like the D-list 80s stuff where I knew that like eventually I would have time to go back and get Inhumanoids or Silverhawks.
Silverhawks.
Ooh, I remember Silverhawks.
I had a couple of those.
There's stuff that like like I collect G.I.Joe, that's my main thing, but like we have a full collection of Inhumanoids now, or we have a ton of He-Man figures, even though it was never like my main focus. But like when a complete really nice figure comes in and you're like, maybe this one just goes to our house,
Yeah.
So I remember as a kid I like had I think they were called Rock Lords. Was that kind of like a throwaway thing? I had some of those figures. They were like Transformers, but they were rocks.
Well, there was the GoBot Rock Lords, right?
So were those GoBots?
But
there was also a He-Man figure, or at least maybe two of them.
I was gonna say there was a He-Man. There were He-Man rock figures also that I had.
Kids in the 80s loved rocks.
The pet rock, man. It was.
I was one of those kids.
Yeah. Well, the He-Man was like my first love as far as toys went. Like that was the one. Yeah, it was probably the first toy I ever got. I think was Ram Man.
I have the Battle Damage Skeletor still.
I still have
both the Skeletor Battle Damage and the He-Man one. Yeah,
I still have a lot of my He-Man stuff at my mom's house, but that was like my very first toys where it was He-Man. Was like the ones that I fell in love with and all that back in the day.
Yeah, me too. Yep. I gave away a bunch of those, and sort of going back to the thing where you reach high school or whatever, and you're like too cool for toys. Well, around like later on in high school, after I'd given those away in like maybe 5th grade or so to my friend's little brother, in late high school, I called my friend back who I hadn't spoken to in like 6 years, and like tail between my legs, hey, how you been, man? Those He-Man figures that I gave your little brother, does he still have them? It was like one of the moments of like, I shouldn't be doing this as I'm doing it. But I'm like, man, the draw is just too strong. I felt so bad about giving away my He-Man figures. And he was like, let me check the basement. And he walked away for like 3 minutes, and he was like, I think we got rid of them. I was like, oh, okay. Good luck. See ya. And then like never talked to him again.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You cried as you ran home.
Back. Yeah. I like He-Man.
Where do you all fall with siblings, if you have any? Are you oldest, youngest, middle?
I'm the youngest, yeah. I have a twin, but technically I'm the youngest.
Okay. And Jeremy's the oldest, right?
Yeah, I'm the oldest.
Yeah, I'm the youngest. I have 2 older sisters, which was cool because actually my oldest sister, Kelly, I got a lot of her 70s Star Wars toys. Like when I like,
Dang.
so like she got a lot of the original 77 stuff because I wasn't born yet, and she was a big Star Wars fan. So it was cool. I got a lot of her toys when she aged out of it. Plus they're like half sisters, so they were a lot older than me. So so I got a lot of their toys fairly early when I was a kid. So that was rad. I remember I had a couple Care Bear stuff too, like that big the big blue bad guy. I liked him.
I think my coolest thing I have from back in the 80s still is my Rainbow Bright poster, which is like completely like torn to shit, but it's the official movie poster for the Rainbow Bright movie, which I would think I was 2 or 3 when it came out, but I was like really into Rainbow Bright.
Mm-hmm. That was cool, yeah.
Yeah, my fiance's been getting back into stuff like that. Checking out, getting like Rainbow Brights and Polly Pockets and stuff like that. It's nice that she likes toys too, so it's
yeah.
So I don't really have to.
They got a She-Ra coming back on Netflix, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it
could be interesting. I don't know.
She-Ra's back.
Was there any like some completely obscure toy that like you just discovered through through the store, or was it mostly stuff that you already knew about, like from your collection?
There's obscure stuff that comes through, and I've got a guy. So like anytime something really weird comes through, I just shoot a message to my buddy Steve, and I'm like, "What is this?" And he's like, "Oh, that's Lord of the Underworld. It's the Frogman that was released in '95, only in Hong Kong."
Well, yeah,
but nothing that's like really like drawn me in to start collecting. It's just I need to know what the hell this thing is.
Did you say? I remember you saying earlier. Was it like '97 when you like started paying attention to just collecting everything?
Yeah, that was a year after I was out of high school, and that's why I was asking you guys where you fell within your siblings, because like me, I was the youngest of 4, so I didn't have anybody younger than me in the household collecting toys after I was.
Oh, okay.
So I felt like maybe that would help some people stay within the toy community, just like saying like, oh, you're picking up the new X-Men figure, so like I want to check it out too.
Yeah,
but like sometimes cousins too, or whatever, like younger brothers of best friends and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I guess I lived like sort of vicariously through like my nieces and stuff, where I would buy toys for them, but it wasn't never really like comic stuff though, because they weren't as into it as I was. But yeah, but I would still go look, and like when some of the new Star Wars stuff, like the prequels, like I bought a lot of those toys when they came out. I think that's kind of like when it kept going, and probably where it stopped.
Yeah, when
too.
there was the re-release of the Star Wars, when they did the special editions in the late '90s.
Yeah.
When the first New Hope came out, there was like a Luke Skywalker figure you could get, and my dad was like,
"You can get all of them." Was it the one with the
movie theater? Yeah.
Are you talking about the one that you got to go? Like, are you talking about the Jedi one that you got from Return of the Jedi?
Yeah. So you would get like one.
Yeah.
Well, no, whatever it was like it was like a re-release of the Luke Skywalker figure, and it only like came with the movie ticket.
Yeah,
I remember getting that.
I have that one.
That's one of the only. I think it's the only Star Wars figure I ever bought, but it came with my movie ticket when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have him.
The only Star Wars figures I ever
both
had
versions.
were hand-me-downs from some kid at my church, and I think I still have them, but I have the Rancor.
Nice.
Oh, I never had the Rancor. I wanted
that's the giant dude, right? The big like foot tall figure, I think.
Yeah, the one with the hands and the mouth that moves.
Yeah, and you have
there's
a little knob on his back.
Yeah.
That moves his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all kinds of pennies in that thing right now. Because I've just like put stuff in there as a kid. It still rattles around.
Yeah.
And I was at a local what do you call it? Like not a swap meet, but like a flea market. And I saw in box that same thing was going for $450. I was like, oh, all right. I got one of those that's at least worth 1 penny.
Yeah.
So,
did you? I want to say, Sam, was there ever like a Holy Grail thing that you wanted, like with you when you were younger, as a toy that you could never get, but you finally got now? Like I don't know, like a giant play set or something like that. Like I always wanted the He-Man Eternia when I was a kid, but I never got it. But I'm sure, like in your collections, you were able to get whatever that big thing was that you wanted, or I don't know.
There's still some stuff that eludes me, and we've actually had a couple people try to bring in that Eternia playset to the shop, but I know the two of you guys know that the shop is not that big.
Yeah,
very true.
The playset is very big.
Yeah.
So sometimes it just had to be like, I really have nowhere to put this, unless I have somebody that I know I can turn around and just text them and be like, hey, I have an Eternia, come get it. You know,
I don't even know
Trey.
where. I was gonna say I don't even know where I would put it if I bought it.
Wait, what was the Eternia place? Because I have the Castle Grace, or I had the Castle Grayskull, but what was the Eternia place?
I think it was. I feel like
there's like 3 giant towers connected by rail cars along the top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I think I remember. Okay, I remember now seeing something like that. Yeah,
but yeah, to answer your question, a few of the Joe pieces are much larger than they should be. So they had the aircraft carrier.
Oh yeah, I was just going to ask you that giant aircraft carrier.
Yeah, so that thing is 7 feet long.
Wow.
And it's sitting next to me here.
Mm-hmm.
We just got our house a little over 3 years ago, and it's the first time that I've been able to display it. It's been in a closet for the better part of like 18 years, but that's from when Liz and I would sell at like toy shows.
Mm-hmm.
And 18 years ago, somebody had it at their booth for I think 150, and I was like, "Yep, sure." And then
How much did it go for back in the day?
I think it was like $100.
Wow.
I think
how much could you get for it now?
Complete like this, they usually go just under $1,000. Like if you see them at like a Comic-Con or something like that, people are usually asking like $1,500 because they think that somebody would break down and buy it at the con for that much. But
yeah.
If it was in our shop, I'd probably maybe like 800 complete.
Nice.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah. And I
But
think
still not really that crazy if you think that it came out that long ago and it was $100 at release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I had a friend that had that. Like, I feel like I saw it at one point. But yeah, no, it's always cool when you get. I mean, I'm sure it's something like when you were younger, you thought you'd never get a hold of, and now you're in the place that you can, and especially have a place where you can actually display it, especially with something as big as that, is most important. Because I have toys at my mom's house that I still haven't, that are in the basement that I just don't know what to do with them. Like, I have more comic book toys that are just kind of in a box. Like, I had a lot of those like 10-inch figures, and I just don't know, and I just don't know where to put them, so they never made it up here.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I have a collection of, I have all those re-released Star Wars toys that Jereme was talking about, including the one from the theater. And even the ones that had the lightsabers that were taller than them that got recalled, which I thought was cool. They recalled those back and replaced them. But, that's, about all I have from high school. Like, most of it's, still at my mom's house because of space. But it's, just trying to find space for everything.
Piece that still eludes me, and I think I brought this up recently to Liz. The original Transformers line, they had that massive Fortress Maximus figure.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
2 feet tall. So in however many years that we have been collecting and buying and selling toys, we've not even had a junky, broken one come through the shop or through our collection.
Oh, you haven't seen it at all? In any way? Not even a broken one?
No. Yeah. Never at a flea market or never at something that would, put it within our grasp of owning it.
Oh, okay. No, that's a shame. I mean, I'm sure you've seen them online, right? Or you've seen people selling them.
Yeah.
They do exist. Or you've actually touched one.
Even at other shops here in the city, you'll see them every now and then. But it's just weird to me that I'm also pretty close to completing a G1 collection of Transformers personally, and that guy eludes me, which is slightly aggravating. My best friend growing up had one, and he still does have it. And a few months back, his younger brother came up from St. Louis to visit, and he brought me a box full of toys that his son was no longer into. So the first Transformers movie action figures. He's like, "Here, my kid's not playing with these anymore. You could just throw them in the shop, or if you want any of them, just take them." And in the bottom of that box was this tiny gun that goes to one of the smaller figures that came with that giant Fortress Maximus.
Oh.
So I text his older brother, and I was like, "Hey, are you missing this gun specifically?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I am." I didn't say anything, but I just put it in the mail. And a couple days later, he's like, "Oh my God, thank you so much." Because that gun can go for $50.
By itself?
Nice.
Yeah. So he got the gun, and he's like, "I can't believe you found this. This is great." And I was like, "Dude, that is literally your gun. Your brother had it mixed in accidentally with this stuff that he brought."
Nice. No, that's cool. You're able to get that back to him.
Yeah. Whereas I super won his Fortress Maximus.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you get it eventually. Hopefully, if I ever come into contact with one, I'll message you and let you know. I don't know how I would, but you never know. You never know. You might see one somewhere and be like, "Hey, do you still want that thing?"
Mm-hmm. The answer is always yes.
So you could say no to this, but could I show you a toy I've been unable to? identify that I bought it at Goodwill, and maybe you could give me some insight because I've looked online and I haven't been able to figure out what it is.
Sure.
All right, hold on a second.
Oh, you're gonna grab it right now? Do it right on the show.
Yeah.
After that, we're gonna have to start wrapping it up because I think we're almost at like 2 hours for the show. But what do you got?
Yeah. I was just going out on a limb because I've like put this on Twitter and everything, and no one could figure out what it was. But it's this. I don't know if you can tell what it is from the webcam.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the space. What was the series called? Well, it's Power Rangers, but what is the space?
This is from Power Rangers. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was a Transformer, so I know it isn't.
Yeah, he folds out into a larger robot, right?
It's pretty much, yeah, it's like a carrier, like these things open up, and there's a bunch of little tiny figures inside.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they assemble into a bigger figure, but they kind of look like they might like be part of another smaller model.
Is there any company listing on there?
It just says Bandai.
Oh, well then that's
Power Rangers.
It's got to be Power Rangers.
yeah, Bandai is Power Rangers.
Except now it's Hasbro.
It says 99 Bandai.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, 99. Yeah, that would definitely be the time that they had all that. Did you ever get into Power Rangers at all, Sam? I figured. I mean, it missed me. I kind of aged out of it, so I figured you aged out of it too.
Yeah, me too.
If you were 78.
Having to put things in the shop that I didn't really know or like.
Mm-hmm. That's probably part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was like a breaking point for me in my high school career was Power Rangers and Spice Girls like came around the same time, and that was like when I was like, okay, TV shows suck and mainstream music sucks. That's like where I realized where I'm like, I'm not doing either of those.
Power Rangers because I was mad because they kind of took over Ninja Turtles, and I still like Ninja Turtles, so it was an either or thing for me, and I sided with my boys.
Well, I felt kind of cheapened because I could tell that it was a Japanese show reworked into an American show.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, because they basically took all the action scenes from a Japanese show and like dubbed it and just only shot the stuff with them out of their suits and kind of just worked it in there. So I could like smell that it was a cheap show and that it like maybe nobody should like it. And plus I was a huge Godzilla fan growing up and I felt like it was like a bad version of Godzilla, because it had like big monsters and stuff, but it wasn't as fun. So it's just kind of like, no, I'm like, nope, not into it. But,
Yeah.
I mean, for people nowadays, yeah, you definitely have to sell that stuff because a lot of people, I mean, only like a few years younger than us are like super into Power Rangers. So,
well, that's its own genre, which I don't know the word right now, but the whole like live action segments with the scaled down cities, like, isn't that like a whole genre of like?
Well, it's like it reminded me of Godzilla stuff
Japan.
because that was like all I really knew of that was like the Godzilla, but same sort of thing.
Yeah, like the Ultraman, Godzilla stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like what was it? Tatsunoko, the like Japanese animation company, like they pretty much, what was it? Gotcha Force was like the very first like of that type of like Voltron or Power Rangers and all that with like Ken the Eagle and all those guys. They're all playable in Marvel Capcom versus Tatsunoko. I only know that because of that, but yeah, they were like the first time where it was like little machines make a big machine and all that. Like the little tigers make a big robot or whatever. And it kind of went from that, but that was an animated show, so it wasn't like small buildings and whatnot. But I mean, that's kind of the world we live in. I mean, it probably make you feel really old that there's a lot of people out there where like the GameCube was like their first system, or like
I tweeted this today that so a grandpa, and I'd put this grandpa like maybe around like 70, came in with his grandson, and the grandson probably like 12, 13. They came in and the grandpa picked up something and he was like, what is this? And his grandson went, I think it's a game, and he was holding an Atari cartridge.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Neither of them knew what it was. Wow.
Yeah. They were both aged out of that.
Wow.
that's true.
Well, yeah.
It fell in the middle.
It's harsh.
I'm sure they'd seen cartridges. I mean, well, I guess they just didn't know that type of cartridge.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But I think I'm going to have to start wrapping it up here. But is there anything you want to say about we talked about stuff coming up for the shop, but is there any more stuff that you want to promote, Sam, before we sign off here?
No, I say just give us a follow on Instagram, Toy De Jour.
Yeah.
And then, the art show is this Friday if anybody's in the area.
Yeah, definitely. And that's on Western in Chicago in Logan Square area. Yeah, it's pretty much at Toy De Jour for everything, right? Like where we would find you on Twitter or Instagram or whatever,
Facebook.
Right?
Absolutely.
Facebook. Yeah, just, I mean, if you search Toy De Jour, I'm sure you'll find the different places to find things.
DE, not DU.
DE.
DE. Yeah. It'll be in the description.
De Jour, Jour. Definitely check it out. It's one of my favorite shops in Chicago. You should definitely come by and see it. I tell a lot of people to go, especially people who are into comic books or video games or anything like that, because you can find all sorts of, or Star Wars, you can find all sorts of fun loose toys
or Garfield
or Garfield for a decent price, you know. So cool. Well, thanks for being on the show. Really appreciate having you.
Thanks a lot.
I feel like we talked about a lot of cool stuff, and it's always cool to hear about different toy lines that we don't know about, and you know, just your own journey as a toy fan, which I always like hearing because I'm a collector by nature, so it's always fun to hear like how it all starts and all that stuff. And of course, I wish you guys the best, and love to see more of the upcoming art shows and all that fun stuff. And it's always fun to come in there and look at stuff. But we've been your hosts. I'm Trey Johnson.
I'm Jereme Mikowski.
John Litter.
And
Sam. I've never played a Switch. Wells.
you got to get on that. You should play the Switch at some point. You can find us at NintendomainPodcast.com. You can download our podcast from any of the different podcatchers out there. Whatever, Downcast, Smallcast, whatever they're called. You can find Nintendomain Podcast on there. We're on Spotify as well. You can find it there. We have videos on YouTube, youtube.com/Fingmater, FINGMATER. I also have a Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Nintendomain Podcast. You can watch me do stream stuff. I think I finally fixed it to where I can stream at 720 now, so everything looks a lot better. So you can check that out. I do streams every Thursday and Wednesday, so check that out. Anyway, thanks for listening to us, and we'll be back next week for E3 stuff. See you later.
And Sam's wife, let him play the Switch. Come on. Just let him play.
Yeah, let him play.
Come on.
This new
Way to blow it. Second word.
Rah, rah.